Well, hello there.
Hi, welcome everyone. If you're joining us live, make sure to pop in the comments and give us a hello so we know you're here.
Oh,
Otherwise, all of you listening to the replay, also feel free to pop in and give us a shout out. We'd love to hear from you. So, what
yeah.
are we talking about today, my friend?
So we are exploring how to do more by doing less
You seem to
or
have used
doing
that.
what matters. Doing what
Yeah,
matters. Yeah.
yeah.
Because, when we enter into this entrepreneurial space, most of us have left a job where we learned to hustle, and we got that hustle got reinforced by promotions or shout outs or more money. And I think we all have a moment before we decide to hang our shingle that there's got to be something better. And then we
Mhm.
come into this world wearing all the hats and we start hustling again. How does that happen?
Well, I think you you hit it on the head. I would argue that it happens even before we take our first job. I mean, if you think back to school, I was thinking about this earlier this week. Um, you got extra credit for doing more, right? Like
Mhm.
just from that very beginning, like connection between I got the top marks and I could get even higher marks by doing more, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so more creating more, doing more is reinforced early on as a way to achieve. Also, I think there underneath there is this idea that we equate hard work and more work
Hmm.
the same, right? And those two things, you know, go way, way back. So it makes a lot of sense that we leave our previous careers with this idea that we want something different, but then create a lot of the same, especially in an entrepreneurial space where there are so many things you could be doing in any given moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that come up that you don't anticipate. Like just yesterday, my messages weren't loading in LinkedIn. And I'm like, what? So I rebooted, I logged out, logged back in, and come to find out it was an extension issue. But I didn't have an IT department to call and say, hey, why are my messages not loading? I had to go figure it out. And so I think we not only do we have a lot to do, we have a lot of things that come out up throughout the day that we can't even anticipate until they come up, and then you get to decide, is this something I need to address now or can it wait?
hmm And that requires what we talk about a lot is like, do you have the clarity and the intention about what you are wanting to create?
Yeah.
Not just the result or the impact on your business, but even what the lifestyle, your day to day, you want to create, and getting clear and intentional about that. So you can answer the question of, do I chase down why this isn't working, or do I just walk away from it because it's not tied to something that's essential, that's gonna move
Yeah.
me towards my goal. And I think that's where we get caught up in the busy, the doing the more, the
Yeah.
checking the boxes, especially if we're in that place where we're not seeing the results we want
Hmm.
yet,
Yeah.
because that's like familiar to us. If I'm proving like, oh, I mean, I checked off 75 things on my to-do list today. it's not that I'm not trying, right?
Right, right. And I'm crawling into my evening, and I wanted to be showing up differently for my evening time. That's why I left, or that's why I opened this business. Yeah. Well, something that you said back on, should I fix the messaging or should I not? Because my focus goal is what it is, it was a requirement to say, okay, so I had that foundation to know, yes, this is the next best step for me to take because of what I'm trying to achieve. I need my messaging to build relationships, right?
Right.
So without having our foundation, I wouldn't have known. I mean, it was a real quick decision. Yes, I need to shift. I need to take care of this to get this back online. But
Yeah.
it's only because I have our,
You had the clarity. Yeah. You
okay,
know what your primary focus is
yes.
and what result you're trying to create. And um, the messages are a key component on that. And so, yeah, like spending that additional time to problem solve it makes sense.
Hmm.
And, the cool thing is that when you can walk away from something that you would normally spin your wheels in trying to figure out, and you
Yes.
can be like, this this do, this doesn't matter in the
Hmm.
scheme of things, right?
And that
Or
happens day in and day out. It's like, not now. This can get parked because my focus is here. And I've got a list going for when everything's done.
right, right, exactly. If that ever happens, never. Uh, yeah, I think, and what's going to happen? I mean, let's talk about the downside of, I mean, the trying to keep up and the trying to do more, trying to do it all, because that's what gets presented to us, outside of this space and other spaces that are trying to help you do something differently. It's like, oh, yeah, you should be on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You should be doing podcasts, and you should be, like the, the,
Coffee chats,
yeah, all the things.
all of it. You need to do all of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the fast track to burning out. I
Mhm.
mean, and some of us came to, myself included, entrepreneurship, on the tail end of a burnout. Like I just had to, kind of start over because I couldn't imagine going back into the environment that I was in before,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. It's when you lose that excitement to go do your thing. Ooh, you're getting close. It's like you should be waking up ready. I mean, no, you should. You should be waking up excited to do your thing. I mean, it's your passion, it's your dream. But
right,
if you're dragging yourself into your office or your countertop or, wherever you do your work, it's time to take a step back and really look at, what am I doing that really isn't aligned with me? What am I doing that's not moving the needle? How do I stop doing so much?
right. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head because before you hit that burnout point, there's this underlying dissatisfaction that you're carrying through your days where you are pushing yourself day in and day out.
Or
Um,
saying, this is so hard. Nobody told us this was going to be this hard. All of those common things that we sit back and we're like, and then you start comparing, how did they get so far ahead? Why am I still here? And it's just, yeah, it's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, and so then that begs the question, okay, well, I can write a long list of things to do. I mean,
Yeah.
we're no different than anyone else. I could probably fill a whole legal pad
Oh, yeah.
of things that I
Oh,
want to do, could do, have to do, should do, like all those things. And so it's, how do you sift through all of that to get that intention, that clarity that says this is what I'm going to focus on.
yeah.
Um And I think that's why we're offering a workshop at the end of this month. So,
Mhm.
first to hear it here, and it's all about our framework for assessing that to do list in a way
Mhm.
that helps you get a lot more clarity on what you should say no to and what you want to say a wholehearted yes to.
Yeah, and I want to say, and it's not because I'm biased, because I am. I love our stuff, but this was the absolute game changer for me because I was the girl that was, no, they said post 25 times this week, so I'm going to post 25 times. And they said do this and they said do that. And I mean, I was very skeptical of saying, what do you mean I can do less?
Yeah, it
And
feels,
then
well, because it's
it's
not what
very
we're used
uncomfortable.
to.
It's very uncomfortable. I am not going to lie to anybody. It is uncomfortable at first. And you just have to decide, okay, I'm going to get curious because what I'm doing is not working. It for sure is not working. So, what if I slow down and run my actions through our framework and figure out what my key items are? And let's just see. And I can tell you from my very skeptical experience, things happened. Things started happening.
Yeah, and it starts to train your brain to look at it differently,
Yeah.
you know, um, because I think we do get that dopamine hit when you check the box or
Oh,
cross the thing off the
oh
list.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whew, you know, it's like
Yeah.
I feel great. Or being able to say at the end of the day, I did this and this and this and this and this
Yeah.
and this and this,
Look at
you
how
know.
worthy. Look at my worth. I am so valuable
Yes, I'm so
to
valuable.
yourself.
And I mean, I can multitask, I can pivot,
Yeah.
I can still get all these things done. And I had 4 interruptions and,
Yeah.
all this stuff. So there's a lot of like worth,
Yeah.
like chemical reactions that happen, reinforcement that
Yeah.
happens, but this the framework, I mean, and I'll just run through the key components of it, is like the thing that you're doing, is it essential to progress? Like if you did that one thing, would you still be making progress on your biggest goal? um, is it aligned with who you are? Like, is it something, that you can look at your values and be like, yeah, it takes advantage of your strengths, and like it's based in your self trust. So like I look at my list sometimes and ask this one question: what would I choose this if no one else was watching? Because there's a lot of things that make their way onto the to-do list because we think someone else told us that we should do it,
Or yeah.
especially in business.
Right. 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 No. And it is a series of questions. They're so easy, but yet so hard at the same time. I mean, it's kind of that where it really makes you sit back and ask yourself, what am I trying to do here? I mean,
Yeah.
what is it? What is the one thing, not the 25 things, the one thing that I'm trying to accomplish, and going into it with that mindset. That's why in Mastery Circle, we start with a big goal and we get everybody focused in on what do I think I can get done in 12 weeks.
Hmm.
And then from there, you take it and you run it through our earn framework because it's earning a spot in your work life.
Right. Right. And that gets helps you get clearer and clearer and clearer. And I think it one of the things that I noticed is like I had like it cuts out a lot of the busy work that we like. The action that we're taking is essential,
Yeah.
but we add a lot of bells and whistles to it,
Hmm.
um, for a lot of reasons that are really unnecessary. And so it's really getting that clarity on, this is the action that the core part of the action that matters.
Yeah.
And sure, like if I want to spend 5 hours on Canva designing the perfect graphic,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I can certainly choose to do that, but that's not what's moving the needle forward.
Right. Yeah.
And so recognizing that, there are those trade-offs and, getting clear on what you are saying yes to, and by default, then what are you saying no to?
Yeah. Yeah. So, one of the things that we were going to hit on is what focused action actually looks like in our real lives. And for me, it was defining a stop time and figuring out uh, my boundary is this is my stop time, and I'm rolling into my family still energized, something left in the cup. So, what do I need to eliminate out of my to dos in order to do that? And it was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever had to do. But I can tell you, we've probably been doing this for 3 months now to really test it out. And my whole work has shifted,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
I now have time that it's like I have nothing to do. I mean, I have things to do, but nothing pressing. And it's like, what do I do now? So now I'm working on this uncomfortable feeling of not having anything pressing.
Yeah. No, that's a whole another level
Yeah,
of discomfort.
right.
Yes.
But
I
can
mean,
you
that's
imagine going into it 3 months ago? I never could have imagined going, I'm done.
right. Right. Well, and it's cool what can happen. Certainly, there's that discomfort of the space, but
Yeah.
the spaciousness allows you to consider different possibilities, different opportunities.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, for me, I notice. Um, like I think we all want more time to
Mhm.
spend, you know, with ourselves, with the people we love, and but yet I could fill every moment of every day with a list of to-dos. And it's interesting, like I'm a was a champion to-do list maker,
Mm,
and
right.
I've stepped away from making a lot of to-do lists because I'm like, I trust myself that I'm going to do what needs to be done.
Hmm.
I don't need to have an elaborate plan.
Right. Right.
I mean, even as simple as like, your house cleaning schedule. I don't need an elaborate plan. I know, oh, the
Yeah.
floor needs to be vacuumed. Oh,
Yeah.
like, I don't need to have this rigid schedule that I follow in order for it to get accomplished. So that self trust, like that has been the biggest win for me personally, has been, you know, I trust myself to get done what needs to get done, and you know the rest of it didn't need to get done.
Yeah. 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 It's freeing. It really is. So, if I wanted to start making progress without burning myself out, what would you suggest the first step would be? Other
Mm.
than, of course, join our workshop, but
Right.
other than that, I mean, what do you think is the best first step?
I mean, so that's a great question. My suggestion would be to get clear on what you actually are wanting as your result, as your outcome.
Yeah.
Because without knowing where you're headed towards, it's hard to assess the value of any action.
Right.
All of them uh, seem equal and important. And so, getting that clarity on where it is you want to go. Um, of course, like I can think of 100 other things that I would add on to it, but come to the workshop. It'll be a great place where you can explore that further. But yeah, getting that clarity.
Yeah, and I almost would add, so I agree with you 100% because in everything that we do, Jenny has been a great teacher for me in this, because I kind of just bull ahead and start working. It's, what are we trying to accomplish? Let's define what we're trying to accomplish first. And so I would extend that a little bit. I would assume everybody out there is get more clients. Why? And start heading down that avenue of really understanding how do you want to go about that? Do you want to go about that through paid ads? Do you want to go through genuine connection? Do you want to go through social posts? I mean, figure out how you want to do that, and then go all in on that one thing.
Right.
One
Yeah.
thing. Not podcast posting, DMs, all the things. Focus on that one thing, and see what happens. Learn what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I
You
would do.
definitely need that clarity to stop look out don't look outside yourself. That's the other pice I would
Yeah,
say when you're
yeah.
doing this
What
work.
feels what feels good.
Right.
If your insides are going, ooh, I don't know about this. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and also it's also discerning like the discomfort from narrowing your focus
Hmm.
and going all in on one particular course of action.
Hmm.
That's going to feel uncomfortable because that's not what we're told to do. That's
Oh
not
yeah.
what's kind of the formula, the framework, the right way. Um, so that's going to feel uncomfortable, but distinguishing and discerning for yourself, like the discomfort of um, I'm going to show up differently
Hmm.
versus like this thing is not for me,
Yeah.
right? So,
Hmm.
like for me, I think about the idea of um, paid ads and like, oh, like my
Yeah.
insides like die
Yeah. Yeah.
inside,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And so that's just not for me. And that's
Right.
the cool thing is that there are hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of different ways to
Hmm.
accomplish the result of getting clients,
Yeah.
building your business. And so listening to that internal wisdom that you have that this this is I can feel like this is something that I would enjoy doing
Hmm.
versus like, oh, this is not me. I'd
Yeah.
have to become someone else in order to do that.
Right.
Um, because it is it only is about what matters to you, not to your neighbor or, the
Or to the
guru.
guru that you're following. Right. I mean, I think so often we're trying to become something that we're not.
Mm,
And there's nothing wrong with being you and finding your way. Yes, it's good to get tips and advice from other people, for sure. But if it makes your skin crawl to post 25 times a week, don't do it.
right.
I mean,
Exactly.
do it your way. Okay, so the message I get is I need to post in order to get visible. So what how do I do that for me?
Right. Yeah.
That's
I
what we're
love
saying.
that. Yeah, it's always adding that for me part
Yes.
to the end of anything that you're considering because all the expertise, knowledge, in the world, if it doesn't sing for you, if it doesn't
No.
resonate with you, it's not going to resonate with the people that you're meant to serve.
No, and if you're showing up pushing, that's what's going to come across in your messaging, in your DMs, in the emails and the newsletters. Believe me, I've been there. And my message was rushed. It was just trying to check a box, just trying. And once I finally slowed down and said, okay, what are we trying to do here? Everything's really shifted for us.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
think, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. It's like,
right.
yes, going and getting expert advice is, when you're new, you've got to, because you're like, I have no place to start. But then I think you tweak it to you.
Yes. Well, and I mean, we've been in spaces together and separately where we joined for this little, what we thought was the nugget that we wanted.
Mhm.
And that nugget was there, but the way it was packaged, the way it was delivered was not aligned with who we were as
Mhm.
people. And
Yeah,
so quickly, like you were either forcing yourself to stay in that space and be that way, or
because you
you
paid the money or
y-
whatever, the
or you
time
checked
investment.
out.
Yeah.
Or you checked
Mhm.
out. And you know, and we often check that off as failure in some way because,
Oh, but we've
you know,
learned from every time we've been
right,
somewhere. Mhm.
right. That's the learning that you go through. And can you take the pieces that did align with you, that did
Mhm.
speak to your strengths and what you want to bring out into the world, and can you make that your own? That's
Yeah.
why there is no 1, 2, 3,
There really isn't.
become a unicorn.
There really isn't. I mean, we've looked for it for 2 years, and it's really not there. It's not until you decide what your result is and you go all in on that. And it,
Yeah,
it really needs to be one focus until you know enough to go, this is working or this isn't working. How can I pivot or not pivot? Or how can I add to it?
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because eventually you're gonna have stuff that it's just like,
Yeah.
this is just the way I do it because you've come up with the way for you. And so then it takes less of your time and your energy and your
Mhm.
focus, and something else can shift into its place. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so if anything, we're beating the drum that says, you can be successful and not have to check off 47 things on your to-do list every single day. And it's really about doing what matters most to you with that clarity and intention.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll be seeing an invite come out about the workshop, and we'll be sharing it and all of the good things. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about our Power Hour Club. We've got the barcode above Jenny. Mondays are always free, and it is a 1 hour, it's 50 minutes of focus because we do come in and check in, and when we leave, we celebrate. But I haven't heard anybody come out of that going, man, that was the wasted 50 minutes of my time. I never want to do that again. So
Yeah,
it's one of our clients' favorites. We decided to roll it out to the public. So we'd love to see you join us on Monday mornings.
it can be your first step to that focused action,
Yes, it
right?
can. Yes, it can. And we have a plethora of people. Some people read all the way to schedule posts. So, you know, it's your 50 minutes. You do exactly what you need to do during that time.
Excellent.
All
Well,
right. Another successful live.
all right. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye, everyone.